quite loud.
Well. Hello and welcome to Indiepocalypse Radio, your source for all things Indiepocalypse and things that are Indiepocalypse adjacent. Indiepocalypse being the number one favorite monthly indie game catalog. No catalog. It's a bundle. I don't like calling bundles. I don't like bundles. Bundle sounds like you're saving money, and that's not the point of this. The point is to make money for people, to not like make a ton of money, but like make a comfortable amount of money, or like. No, I mean the point of anthologies in art is to get real high minded for a second. It's to allow artists to make small works throughout the year and get little paychecks here and there while also promoting their work and building up a portfolio. Then they can later sell their own like short story collection after submitting 6 short stories throughout the year to different anthologies. It's all about the slow grind, and I'm trying to add the slow grind into games instead of the 7-year gamble, which it seems far too precarious for me. Me, of course, being Andrew, the host of this show, the creator of that aforementioned Indiepocalypse, that fun little game bundle. A new one just came out, But speaking of things coming out, we've got guests here, a bunch of game developers like we usually have on this thing. I don't know. Occasionally we'll go into the exciting world of other artists, but it depends on my mood and how much I can be like, hey, you don't know who I am necessarily. Do you want to be on this show? But people who you may know from Indiepocalypse issue 32 with Monday's a Sisyphean typing game, it's Max and Alex Robbins. Max, Alex, how you doing today?
We're good.
Oh, perfect.
Very good.
Wasn't sure who was going to talk first. We might have said it at the same time.
No, that's fine. The number one rule of the show is if Andrew's talking, just plow right through him. But if someone else is talking, I don't know about that one.
Understood.
Figure it out, I suppose. So now that you're on the show, first important question, just to get out of the way before we get to anything else. How'd you hear about Indiepocalypse?
That's a good question. I'm trying to remember. Do you remember? Do you think it might have been Twitter?
Yeah, I feel like we were following some people who were like liking it, retweeting it. We saw it for a little while, but we didn't like have anything to submit, to post. Yeah. And then when we had these put together, we were like, this is the time.
Perfect. The classic word of mouth. This is a thank you for participating in my informal marketing poll of how do I get people to hear about this thing. Occasionally I'll see people do TikTok, and TikTok is a platform to be used, but I'll be honest, every time I've seen someone post a marketing kind of thing on TikTok, it's been the most irritating thing I've ever seen in my life. And I don't think I have the constitution to make that myself.
Yeah, stick to Twitter, maybe.
Yeah, it's easier to just post, but like there's very specific style that I think TikTok is looking for.
Yes.
I find it to be deeply irritating.
Yeah.
But that is a personal preference. That is not a slam on TikTok as a platform, just like TikTok marketing. But anyway, speaking of marketing, market this your game to me, which is to say, tell me a little bit about Monday's a Sisyphean typing game.
Yeah, sure. We were part of a project called Briefs, which was run by the company Gold Extra, and they were looking to commission us to make a micro game, which was in some way absurdist, which we were instantly really interested in. And we put together the game and posted it on itch, and it started to do pretty well. And because of that success, we felt like we could send it to you, to Indiepocalypse, because we've been looking at, like I said, we've been following it for a little while, and the game is we wanted to make something which was a level that we felt like we could submit to things like this. But to talk about the game itself, you are Sisyphus, but you can put in your own name, and you type emails, generally quite mundane work emails that let you go further up a hill. And if you type the wrong letter or you finish the sentence, then you go back down to the bottom of the hill, and you get to buy things from the shop, which do some sort of aesthetic difference to your boulder, but gives you no actual benefit.
Are you saying improving your aesthetics has no actual benefit on your life? Oh.
Not on your boulder, not on your speed of typing. Yeah. Max, was there anything I missed out there?
No, that's pretty much it. Just type emails, work your way up the mountain, and then do it all again when you inevitably mess up.
Yeah, and I learned very quickly that I'm not the most, accurate typer?
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty harsh on the sort of one mistake and you're down system. It's a bit of a wake-up call for people who are quick and messy at typing like myself.
Yeah, especially
in doing a lot of playtesting, I think that my typing has improved, actually.
Right, because it's very hard to playtest if you are following every second or third letter.
Yeah. So I very quickly had to realize that I got to change my typing style into something a bit more accurate.
Well, perfect. So in a way, it's almost like a. Do you think? I guess Sisyphus did actually probably get really buff pushing that boulder all the time. You know?
Yeah.
Exactly. Just getting buff fingers instead.
Yeah, so if you think about it, really, it's not a lost task. Like Sisyphean is like aspirational in a way.
Yeah.
It's just about doing the same thing and getting really good at it.
We recently went to Munich and saw one of the original Greek pottery Sisyphean vases.
Yeah.
We base the art style in the game off. It was really interesting to sort of see the history and talk to the people at the museum, and they were very confused as to what our connection to it was. But we got them to take a photo of us next to him.
Yeah, it's
we met our hero for sure.
Yeah.
The guy himself.
Games are getting closer to where everybody is, familiar with them, but they're not quite fully there yet, where it's like you just kind of everybody being born into games knows what games are,
Yeah. And our German wasn't that good in trying to translate what we were trying to say to him. But he was very positive and thought we were just, I think, fans of Sisyphus in general.
Which is fine. I'm happy to be labelled as a fan of Sisyphus.
We are that as well. Yeah.
I was looking at what's it called? The briefs real quick. The briefs collection real quick. And I didn't realize that there's wow, do all these people know me? No, not everyone. But we've got another two past contributors in there as well.
Yeah, the creator of Duck Date was on an issue, wasn't he?
Yeah, and so Have Nots Unforgiving also in issue 4.
Oh, yeah.
Or 3.
Well, there you go. That's probably how we ended up seeing it on Twitter. Someone probably liked it or retweeted it.
Yeah.
Xenia.
Very early on. It's just kind of it's interesting and it's another reason I ask, because I like slowly sussing out these little social circles,
Yeah.
where it's like, hey, look at all these people who kind of like are slowly interacting with one another, and like, oh, I found it from him, who found it from them, who found it from etc. 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 And this kind of slow coalescing of like an alternative scene in games.
Yeah, we've been looking at that alternative scene, I think, from the outside for a long time. We've been working on game jams and like building up skills, but this is like the first project where we felt like we've taken like a step towards it, which is exciting.
Yeah, and I'm a big proponent of there not being an outside and an inside to the alternative scene.
We didn't feel excluded, I guess. We just we didn't feel it was the time. We weren't ready.
Yeah, and it's also like, where do you go? It's very it's a very loose kind of like, there are no conventions to go to, you know, if you're an alternative creator, really.
Yeah.
Unless there's like a very specific local one, maybe, that has like an alternative scene, mostly because the big guys don't show up, because who shows up to like a gymnasium in the Midwest of the U.S.?
Well, I guess Indiepocalypse sort of felt like that to us, though, right? It was just sort of a place where we could get to sort of show off our game amongst a bunch of other great games in this cool sort of zine format.
That's the goal.
Yeah, it was really cool.
To get people kind of aware of one another.
Yeah.
And like thinking about, hey, well, what are other people doing in this scene? It's also why I specifically package them, like not as a bundle, but as like a zip file that you have to get, so that people can't like pick and choose one or two of them. It's like, well, if you want to play, you know, if someone wanted to play, you know, your game, they would have to take the 9 others along with it.
Yeah.
So hopefully that
is really good. I mean, it just gets you to play a bunch of, you know, cool, interesting, different games.
Yeah, and maybe, you know, maybe some of them don't work for you, but that's the beauty of anthology. Sometimes they don't all work for you. But some of them will be like, yes, I never knew about this, but it was everything I was looking for. But I've got a question here for you. Oh, it's a triple team question.
Whoa.
Which is to say 3 now it's not loading. There it is. 3 people submitted it. It's from Rui, Typhoon, and Corvinus. When did you all start developing games? What inspired you to do so? And what made you believe this is your calling?
Wow. When did we start developing games? Would be, I think, for an exact date, I think the first time we ever opened Unity was at the end of 2020. We did a game jam. Is that right? Something like that.
Yeah.
And I forgot exactly which game jam it was, but we had to combine 2 genres was the theme, and we went a bit ambitious with an FPS, but you know, you gotta start somewhere, right? With the first game.
48 hours.
You know, we made some mistakes.
Listen, sometimes it's like they say, sometimes you gotta eat shit before you realize you don't like the taste of it, you know?
Exactly. But it was really good fun. So I think just why did we even do it in the first place? Just because I mean, I am personally very into the programming side of things. I'm studying computer science currently, and I've obviously played games all my life, and so I guess it was just this obvious marriage of programming and a love for games. But I just thought, let's just try a game jam. It just sounds like so much fun to just sort of get stuck into some work over a weekend and see where we get with it. And I suppose off the back of that, I really thought that it was just such a good experience that I just couldn't wait to try it again. And I think it was a sort of snowball effect of, we did a game jam, we did another game jam, and it never stopped being fun. So I just wanted to keep doing it.
Yeah, and for me, I've been working in theatre for the last 7 years now, and it was during like lockdown in the UK, like the pandemic, where we were all in our homes, that theatre is a little bit more difficult to do.
Yes, you are not the first person working in theater to come on this show and be like, whoops, makes it difficult.
Yeah, but I'm lucky that as a playwright, a lot of my skills are sort of transferable into that space, and I've always wanted to work in games and making games myself, and there never seemed to be like a right time or a time to be able to do it alongside work. And the lockdown just gave me an opportunity to learn some skills myself, work with Max, and start the ball rolling, to reference Sisyphus.
Right, and I was going to say, playwriting is like I think maybe an interesting approach to approach games as opposed to, I guess, more traditional, I guess, narrative writing, because it is more conscious to there being like actors, you know.
Yeah. And interactive theatre as well, and
how the
audience, how you are planning it like a game. There, it is narrative design in a way.
Games are very close in a lot of ways to sort of the broad ideas of interactive theater.
Yeah, and I'm really excited to see like how I can mix the two going forward as well. Like bring skills into both to make both of them like something different.
Right. The idea that the player is having a conversation with the game.
Yeah.
Not so much like the game is a tool, I suppose, for the player.
Yeah, like a play which that actually gives an audience agency and is different every time is exciting to think about. Yeah,
it's also a very tricky balance. You know, it's like, what does that even mean?
Yeah. It's something that you're gonna have to test. You're gonna have to R&D that.
Right. It sounds really good when you just say it out loud.
Yeah, but in practice, it might be really, really, difficult.
Right. Do you have
more difficult to be in?
Do you have 8 million different choices because that's how you?
Yeah, it's real life. It's like what's the film? It'll come back to me. I'll just yell it in a second as soon as I remember.
Okay, yeah. What is it? What happens in it? What is the connection you're looking for?
It's a Charlie Kaufman where we've got a guy who makes real life in a theatre space.
Oh, is that Cindy Oak, or I don't know how to pronounce it? New York?
I'm going to yell it because I've remembered, because you've told me. It's Synecdoche, New York.
Okay, yes. Oh, yes. Right, I know Synecdoche. What? That's one of those things where I know that word, and I've seen that title of the movie, but I've never seen that pronunciation and the word together, and I have never made that connection. But that's Synecdoche. Yeah. What a world.
Yeah, seeing that film and being like, wait, what if you could make a piece of theatre like this? What if?
I've never seen that movie before, although I've seen.
Oh, it's great. It's really good.
I've seen a number of his stuff because he also did adaptation, right?
Yeah.
And was it Being John Malkovich? Oh, I've seen a lot of his stuff actually.
A lot of hits.
Yeah. I was like, with that, I'm like, oh right, I remember I remember kickstarting Anomalisa.
Whew. I didn't know there was a Kickstarter.
It was like one of those like Kickstarter movies.
Wow.
Nice.
That weird world where like sometimes people would like kickstart movies and then like they might actually come out and you get like a Blu-ray in the mail at some point.
Yeah.
Very weird. But yeah, there is like that's I think that's the other thing that I think is becoming really cool with tools becoming more democratized, is it lets people from like other artistic backgrounds and like all sorts of backgrounds just like get into game design.
Yeah, right. Because I mean, we literally hopped onto itch, signed up for Game Jam, painless, free. You know, they're just on all the time, and just downloaded Unity again, completely free, and just got cracking. It's just so accessible now.
Yeah, I was talking to someone about SPX and being like, hey, that thing has like, it's really cool that games could have something like that, but also SPX, for those familiar, the Small Press Expo is like a long-standing indie comic show. I think that's the one where the Ignats take place. I can never remember which one is the Ignats and which one is the Harveys. I think that's the Ignats one. But anyway, that thing's been running since '96. And, like, I did not have a computer in '96, I don't think.
Yeah. I wasn't born.
Right. So, like, the tools to make, like, to just, like, an average person to make games were nowhere near the tools for the average person to make, like, an 8-page mini comic. Like,
Yeah.
so, but, like, now the tools for people to be able to actually make games are like, hey, everyone's kind of getting closer to doing it now. And we're, like, getting one step closer to just, like, besides people just kind of, owning computers, like either inheriting them or just kind of like them being a little cheaper and hardware being much cheaper or free, you can kind of get a lot of people making games.
Yeah. You could almost say that we are coming onto an Indiepocalypse. But...
Oh no, too many games. Whatever will we do? There's so many games that are out.
I mean, surely the sort of next thing to happen is got to be some sort of, like you say, the Small Press Expo, but for games. If there's this many indie things happening, then it's only a matter of time.
I think it is going to be a slower realization and kind of like a melding of people who realize that, bedroom indie devs are not the same as Devolver and Finji indie devs.
Yeah. And there's indie and then there's proper indie, independent. Indie.
Right. People without publishing backgrounds.
Yeah.
It's what I call, it's that classic gem of that I say on this show all the time, because it gets a good standby of thinking like indie musician with parents having blue names on Wikipedia.
Yeah.
And it's like, how indie are you if your parents are like record producers and investment bankers or whatever?
Yeah.
And give you all the luxury in the world. It's say the line that people post every time someone's like, I built a small business. This teen built a small business at 15. And someone's like, with a $20,000 loan from their parents.
Yeah.
I was like, hey, my parents would be happy to get a $20,000 loan from me. But that's all. Oh, now I remember where I was going. I'm like, how did I resize GIFs? And I remember now. Because Discord is a baby. And it doesn't like my big, huge GIFs that I make. So I have to make a bunch of special ones that I call, and put them in a special folder called Discord is Baby. No, sorry, not Discord, OBS. Sorry, Discord. No disrespect to you.
Is it got a similar sort of file size limit? I didn't know that on OBS.
I don't know. It's very like, I make GIFs from like, they're like full size of my screen, so I can have like really nice, huge, high quality ones.
Yeah.
But they loop fine as GIFs, but when you put them into OBS, they stutter every time they go to reloop. So I try to make sure that I make little baby ones if I, for instance, make a new one. But anyway, we're not here to sit around and just talk about me organizing GIFs for this break, though it's coming up, which is why I'm thinking about that right now. I wanted to change my image. So, what inspired you? So no, I think you answered all the questions. Oh, perfect. You answered all three of them. What is in the future for Max and Alex Robbins? Do you have any game? Do you look forward to specific game jams at all, or?
We've actually just been given like another little commission, like another micro commission with out of nowhere, kind of the bus company in Plymouth.
Okay.
Which is where we go. Like the southwest of England, like a little city down at the bottom. Our local bus company is doing an art project next year, and they were looking for just any artists at all to make something about like local people's experience on the buses. So we're going to be putting together a game for that.
Oh, that is a very weird and specific kind of commission.
Yeah. Well, it's the kind of opportunities we get in the southwest of England. It's like you get you take what you can, really.
Oh no, listen, I would. Anyone would be a fool not to jump on that. That is a.
We were drawn in by the idea of like working sort of with a bus company. We're having a meeting with the CEO of them in a couple of weeks, and I just don't really know what it's going to be like when we say, yeah. So we're going to be making a game. I think they're expecting murals and dance pieces and paintings.
Right.
So it might be quite different to what they were thinking.
But listen, the kids love video games, so they'll be like, "Oh, interesting, a piece of interactive art." I think it will help them out. And so, if you're in the southwest, in the Plymouth area, that is to say, the Plymouth, England area, not I'm in the Plymouth area, but I'm in the wrong Plymouth. I think my Plymouth has a Y, I believe. Your Plymouth is with an I?
Oh, no, we got a Y as well.
Oh, yeah, perfect. Well, that is why I'm in New England, I suppose. Oh, what is that little guy doing there? Huh. Let me get rid of that. The other fun thing about my gifts is I sometimes have like weird little things that I accidentally you get weird little personalized artifacts, which is to say mistakes, and I see like the little YouTube send. Oh no, this is Vimeo. This is the Vimeo send favorite whatever add to playlist thing in the top right of this GIF that I had to crop out real quick.
Nice.
Yeah, so yeah, Desert Bus 2. Perfect.
Desert Bus 2. Well, we were thinking that it's actually probably going to have to be for mobile, since people will probably be on the bus and expecting to whip out their laptops. And the current sort of idea that's bouncing around is kind of like a Pipe Mania style of lay down road for the bus to go along, sort of puzzle game sort of thing. Still early stages of thinking about that, but there's a plan. Maybe not quite Desert Bus gameplay.
Right, not just like you get on a bus and the game runs for the length of the bus and it's just a virtual version of you looking around the bus.
Yeah. That is good, though. That is good.
With just like a gyroscopic. Anyway, this is the curse of game design. It's very easy to come up with an idea, and then part 2 is to make the idea, and that's always like, huh?
Yeah.
Well, how do you do that part?
We're going to be making it with like suggestions and like co-creating it with the people on the buses as well, which is going to be interesting.
Yeah.
That's kind of, we haven't done that before for a game. We've always sort of just done it between ourselves. So it's going to be exciting to like get feedback as we're going along. So it's like a game which is made with the people of Plymouth.
Well, perfect. This varied, this 2+ many project.
Mm-hmm.
I wish you both the best of luck. And if I'm ever in the south of Plymouth, for whatever reason, I would find myself there. Do you guys have a rock there? We got a cool rock in the U.S. Plymouth.
We've got some steps where the Mayflower left.
Ah, nice. That is. I was not expecting that.
And right next to the steps, there's a massive statue of like a prawn/sea monster, which doesn't relate, but is right.
Now this is doubly important. Are the steps real? Because I believe the rock we have here is not real.
The steps are usually like underwater, but they are real. Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
They are real steps that people really got on a boat and really went to America.
Some of them have been redone though. They've like remade some of them.
What a world. Well, if you've enjoyed our very local ocean Plymouth talk, stay tuned for more of it. You'll never know. But Max and Alex, thank you for being here. I hope you will stick around for the later portions of the show. In the meantime, we're going to go on a quick break while I get everything ready. I'll be back in like 2.5 minutes, give or take.
Thank you very much.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Goodbye. Hello and welcome back to Indiepocalypse Radio. That was our weekly dose of the Mountain Goats. This time with Wage Wars, Get Rich, Die Handsome, and I love his new era of just like, I want to make an album about things that I like, of kind of genres I'm into, and I think that rallying cry of Wage Wars, Get Rich, Die Handsome is inspirational. Maybe, I don't know, maybe it's the Die Handsome that makes it sound something fresh. But speaking of our guests, who I don't want to die.
Speaking of dying handsome,
I don't wish them to die, but if they do, I do wish they were handsome in the process.
Well, I appreciate that.
Oh no. We're gonna play a game here, Shane, where I go, I didn't ask how to pronounce your last name, and we're gonna.
Oh no, that's fine.
We're gonna
every time.
We're gonna quite appropriately roll the dice with it.
All right. Oh, do you want to take a stab at it, or you want me to just introduce myself?
Is it Hosha?
No, that was very close though.
Okay,
it's very close. It's just Hosey.
Okay.
Yeah, that's how. At least here's the thing. How is this word pronounced? Who knows? How does my family pronounce it?
That's
how I've always done it.
Right, exactly. That's how else would a name work?
Exactly.
The secret about words is that they're all actually made up.
I was actually thinking about that yesterday when I was again reviewing the email about the show. It's like, oh, maybe I should send a quick pronunciation, and then I got distracted with something else.
Yeah, that's one of those.
This is clearly how important it is that my name be pronounced right.
Right, exactly. It's one of those lines from Atlanta that always stuck with me, where when the character says everything's made up. It's like,
yeah,
you're right, everything is made up. It's not philosophically stating, just very matter of factly stating it. It's like, yeah, you're right, everything is in fact made up.
Yeah, don't sweat it too hard.
It's right. It's good to remind people that all of our pale blue dot and everything and all that.
Yeah, I'm not actually a smiling green frog face.
No, nor am I a manga elf. But
good manga, by the way.
Oh, I love it intensely. It's like, listen, you're not going to bait me into talking forever about Delicious in Dungeon, though I could. About how
start a side podcast.
Oh, that's Shane. If you were an avid listener, you would know that my grand ambition, my vanity pop culture podcast that I make as a famous person is to trick people into talking to me about comic books, so that I have an excuse to tell people about. Because there's nothing that is there is no comic podcast that is talking about Delicious in Dungeon, but also Super Mutant Magic Academy,
Mm-hmm.
and also all these million little weird books that I get at the indie comic shows. So that is a thing that I have to put into the world. But speaking of putting into the world, you put a game into the world and then you submitted it to Indiepocalypse, a game called Haste.
Yeah.
So you had some prep time to answer this question, but I got to ask you, how did you hear about Indiepocalypse?
Actually, I was thinking about it when you asked before to Alex and Max, and I was thinking, how did I hear about Indiepocalypse? And I remembered I like to browse the Game Jam schedule on Itch just to see if there's anything that sounds interesting to join up. And I'm pretty sure, 99% sure, that is where I saw Indiepocalypse. And I clicked through and I read about it and I was like, oh, this is cool. Yeah, I'll submit to this. So I'm often on that page, like I said, just to see, because I find that giving myself a deadline, external deadline to do stuff, makes me get stuff finished. So
yes,
it's a handy tool.
It's a beauty if you, for instance, force yourself to put out a anthology every single month.
Yeah, I can imagine.
You kind of get it done every single month.
Yeah.
Even though I technically don't have any bosses but myself.
Well, sometimes yourself can be the hardest boss of all.
Yeah, that's also my dream, is to have no bosses. Let's get rid of bosses.
Yeah, absolutely.
My goal is to not build a platform that I am on my throne upon, that I welcome people towards. It's more to be like pull.
You're providing a service to the community.
Yeah, more pull people up to my level. You know, if I am to gain influence, it's only to tell other people who would keep the gates to be a big enough dude to be able to knock those gates down.
You're only growing your platform so that you can have more people stand on it.
Yeah, exactly. That's the dream. So tell me a little bit about Haste, as it were.
Well, Haste is a game that started life under the name Dum Dums and Dragons, and it was my stab at a quick play tabletop RPG. I mostly work in physical games. I don't do a lot of computer stuff, just because I say that I'm too dumb to program, and mostly it's just I'm too lazy to learn how.
Hey, listen, I make primarily computer games, and I'm too dumb to program.
Well, then maybe I should take another stab at it. But so Haste just is slowly evolved into, like, it's a quick play RPG, and I started working on it. Probably the first steps were probably about 10 years ago, maybe 9 at this point, and it's just sort of as a game that I would play with just my local group, something that we could just like make characters very quickly and do like a quick adventure. And as I worked on it, I started seeing more and more similar ideas, games coming from a similar place, where it's just like you don't have a lot of prep time. It's just sit down, roll a very quick character, and just start playing. And one of the things that I wanted to do to separate, distinguish myself from the pack, is making something that I feel that a lot of quick play RPGs, you wind up making the same 4 or 5 characters in every game. And what I really wanted to do is make every character that you crank out of this system weird and unique in its own way. And I do that with a lot of random tables that you pull on. But so the speed is still there, but you're getting a lot of weird results and combining and mixing and matching and stuff.
Yeah, because I feature. I mean, the most recent commission game is in fact a tabletop game, but I have a lot of tabletop games in a table. I'm kind of hitting my I'm realizing the strength of graphic design sometimes in a tabletop game, just to engage with the rule book, because I am someone who often does not read rule books. I will let someone else read a rule book for me, or just cut to the chase of it.
Yeah, I find myself drifting through rule books, maybe not necessarily in the order they intend me to read it, but I'll flip through and back and forth and find a piece of art that I like and look at it for 3 minutes, and then how do I make a character again? To flip back and
yeah.
So that's the other advantage of making games shorter.
Yes, it's a lot easier to read. And it's like, listen, I'm very glad you created 90 pages of lore or something.
Right. Yeah. And it's like, and I'm sure it's awesome and it's really engaging and interconnected, but man, my brain is just not letting me get through this today.
Right. We wanted to play a game.
And I've always been a big fan of, when I play any tabletop, I'm always writing my own worlds anyway.
Right.
So I never really bother writing one for the games that I make. I mean, maybe just like the barest idea, like
Right.
haste is a fantasy setting.
Yeah.
Whatever that means to you, that's what it means. Are there elves in it? If you want elves in it, there are.
Right.
I never say the word elf.
Right.
But if throw them in,
That's the secret about D&D is if you want to pretend there's no elves in your D&D game, Wizards is going to come kick down your door and force elves into your game.
Yeah, I love anytime that discourse starts where it's like, hey, they ruined D&D by doing this and this. It's like, well, just don't do that in your game.
Yeah,
you're in your house. You're in your home. You can lock the door.
Right. And you'll see Wizards lawyers rapping at your windows, but they can't get in if you don't let them in.
Clawing at it like feral animals.
I think lawyers go by vampire rules.
Yeah, exactly. You have to invent them. I mean, if you live near running water, you're set.
Yes, right. That's why it's a good thing I'm up in mill country or whatever.
Yeah. Well, I'm in Portland, so we have a lot of rivers. So
right. A land of ports, you might say.
Mm-hmm. A land of ports 1 hour from the coast.
Yeah, right. That's sometimes it's hard to, as someone who lives very nearby a town called Sandwich, it's sometimes hard to appreciate towns you live near and the absurdity of names.
We got a lot of there's a boring in Oregon, which always fascinates me.
And the thing is, you get desensitized to that, so someone could post a funny picture online that says "boring police," and you're like, I don't get it. I don't get it.
They're right down the road. Oh, right, yeah. That's right. It's the word that means something.
That happened to me when I saw it was like 80,000 retweets. Sandwich police. I'm like, am I missing something? Did something happen?
Yeah, oh no, is everyone okay?
Is there like some event that I missed out on? So is this some inside joke that I don't get? And then like a day later, I'm like, oh, they police sandwiches like bread and meat and lettuce.
They're the ones that determine whether a hot dog is a sandwich or not, and they enforce it, usually brutally. Right.
Yeah. Right. Well, good thing we've got all these billboards saying they need more funding to train them how to properly. I passed one today. That was like, fully fund your police for training, I guess.
Yeah. We need another armored personnel carrier.
Right. Yeah, of course. We need to train someone how to drive it or something. Yeah. It's one of those things that's like hard to. Like Massachusetts very recently had one of our not amendments, whatever the hell you call them, those things you vote upon. New rules, as they say. New rules, yeah. About like, hey, we're going to start taxing millionaires. And I got a lot of yes pamphlets, and I didn't get any vote no pamphlets because I'm wondering, what does the vote no pamphlet look like? Mm-hmm. That you mail to the average homeowners, like, I'm not even homeowner, just average mailbox recipient. That says,
yeah.
That says, in fact,
anyone who gets their own mail. Let's put it that way.
Right. It's like, what do you mail them if you were saying, in fact, no, you should not be taxing millionaires to better fund schools and roads.
If you think about it, they have enough money, don't you think? The roads and schools?
Right, yes. And don't you think those people worked really hard for their millions?
Well, at least they saved on the cost of paper, not printing those pamphlets.
Yeah. But on the plus side, on my way back from dump, I also passed a bunch of people in front of town hall that's like, abortion is healthcare, row your vote signs in front of the town hall. So I'm like, for all, it's one of those that's a trick about the U.S. I think you can forget that living outside of it. I think it's important for people to, when there's an election, to look on a county by county voting basis and see even the bluest stuff is a mixture of red and blue. On like a per county basis, and like the percentages aren't 100% one way, 0% the other way, on both sides of the thing. So it's like in the same way that like Texas isn't just a cesspool, There's plenty of people. It's the way. Anyway, politics.
Yeah.
Enough of those things.
Yeah.
video games, tabletop games, role-playing games.
Games.
I didn't realize, speaking of interconnectedness, I didn't realize that you had worked on a new game called, is it new? Let me see, is it new? It is new. Well, it's 82 days new, which is not very new, perhaps.
Are you referring to computer bugs stole my grandma's tax
Tax
files
files?
and I got to go get them back in cyberspace?
Yes.
Yeah, so I've been working a lot with the Portland Indie Game Squad when they run...
Yes, pigs, if you will.
Yeah, Pig Squad, which, of course, pigsquad.com is if you want to know more information.
Listen, I may be running a local showcase in 2 weeks that might feature some of those people.
Excellent. Yeah. No, they're really a really good group, and I work a lot with Will specifically because he kind of is a very good community liaison. He's one of the organizers.
Yeah.
And in the last game jam, we were kicking ideas around just in a Twitter thread, and we were like, what if we tried to make a game just using Windows Explorer, basically? It's just folders navigating through, and then certain ones are password protected, and there's clues in other folders, and you got to put it together. And that's how this game kind of came about.
Yeah, talk about low barrier to entry.
Yeah.
Like, file folders is basically just own a computer.
Yeah, that's all you really need, and then something that can open .rar files. That's it, you know. And so far, it's gotten a lot of really fun, really good feedback. I don't know if it's just the fact that the game is so quirky, or the fact that it is on Will's itch page, which probably gets a little bit more traffic than mine. But either way,
let's not talk about whose itch traffic gets more page. Listen, I'm running this thing, and I feel like half of the developers get more traffic than I do.
But I did get some very, very important feedback, at least to me. The game was retweeted by Weird Fucking Games on Twitter.
Yeah, right. Yes.
So that was a personal stamp of approval that I would really appreciated getting.
Yes, I take it as a personal stamp of approval that they borrowed. I say the Indiepocalypse concept.
Yeah.
With their weird and wild bundles.
Mm-hmm.
I say bar because they have a zine, and why else would you have a zine? I made one because I go to places, and you can't do it without. How do you demo 10 games? Or let's say
I was
340.
I was thinking about that earlier when in the earlier part of the interviews. Because I'm so in my head when I think of games, I think of the games that I tend to write, which are just physical booklets and zines. And I was like, yeah, I go to zine fests all the time, and I sell games. It's like, oh wait, right, computers.
Yeah. Computers. But there's no reason you can't go to like zine. I mean, I go to punk flea markets, and like I go I'm going to one next weekend, and that's where I sell games. I mean, I could also sneak my way into Zine Fest as well because I do have zines.
Yeah. We just had the Portland Zine Symposium here, which actually influenced the design of Haste a lot, because I never really thought... It was just a PDF file for the longest time.
Yeah.
And going and doing that several years ago sort of made me rethink of it as like, oh, what if it was a small half-fold booklet, and that is kind of how it exists now, in addition to being a PDF file.
Right, yes.
Also a PDF file, obviously, but I can still kind of shop it around. It's in a couple of local stores here, just on shelves, which is cool. Now,
Haste has, as they say, big zine energy.
Yeah, absolutely. It's got a big self-published energy.
Yeah, and I love those vibes. I'm a huge fan of like listen, you're gonna see a lot of tabletop stuff that's gonna be using any number of AI art generators to make trending on ArtStation style art. And it's funny because like A friend was talking about Magic the Gathering art and how he thought it's been getting better lately. Because he said for a while it has, he called it ArtStation style art, which is like technically very impressive but doesn't look like anything.
Right. Yeah. And you think about like old Magic cards, and they all looked so like striking and weird and interesting. Yeah, I totally agree. I don't have any problem with AI art. I think it's fine. It's kind of fun to play around with, but you know, there are obviously sinister undertones as with anything.
Yes. I think the major AI art would probably be a great tool for artists, but right now it is used primarily by it's a new stomping ground for the NFT crowd.
Yeah. But you know, I do pretty much all my own art in all the games that I work on. So, you know, it definitely has that kind of amateur artist feel to it.
That's listen. An amateur artist (parentheses complimentary).
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, yeah. But I started working like computer bug stole my grandma's tax files, and I got to go get them back in cyberspace.
Yeah.
And I will say the entire name of the game every time I say it.
Yes. Well, that's the name of it.
Yeah, exactly. That's the title. I experimented with like really simple 3-frame animations for like the character portraits.
Yeah.
And I really like how a lot of them turned out. I've never really done anything like animated before, apart from some VTuber stuff that I was working on as a sort of a hobby thing. But so yeah, it's fun. I feel like, you know, I'm always learning stuff, always branching out, always trying new stuff, and yeah.
Yeah, no, I love very loose animation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's all chunky and funky and
real.
I mean, they're all little bugs, so it makes sense.
I love
that they kind of move weird.
I love like squishy, squashy kind of like. We are a cartoon, so I am embracing the animated medium. Yeah,
you know, they're weird little guys. Let them move like weird little guys.
Yeah, I love weird little animated guys. What a disrespect the medium has been getting as of late. Just like Discovery taking an axe to animation as a medium.
So heartbreaking.
Yeah.
But
what a world. Independent art is at it's dark times sometimes.
Earlier, while you were interviewing Alex and Max, I was playing the Sisyphus game, and one of them mentioned sort of feeling like Sisyphus, and in the back of my mind, I just immediately went like, under capitalism, we're all Sisyphus. But anyway.
Right. I'm like, I thought, why is the credit card number so high? I thought that was lower last week. What? How much money did I spend?
Yeah. Every time.
Yeah, but speaking of which, before we wrap up, I got 3 questions for you, rapid fire.
Oh, yeah.
When did you start developing games? What inspired you to do so, and what made you think this was your calling?
I first started making games when I was in like grade school. I made like a board game, like war game, just for fun, for a class project. Sorry, what was the second part?
1 second. It is, what inspired you to do so?
Oh, I don't know. I just wanted to do it. I mean, what inspires a kid to do anything? Just chaos, pure and simple.
Ample free time.
Yeah, basically. And what made me think it's my calling? I just like doing it.
That's the perfect way to do it.
Yeah, I just it's my free time, and I'll do what I want with it. And I like making games, so I'm gonna make games.
Well, perfect. Shay, thank you for being on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
I'm going to find where Fubar 2000 is hiding. There it is. And then we're going to go to break, and I'll see everyone on the other half of about 2:52. Goodbye. Hello and welcome back to Indiepocalypse Radio. That was KK by Cacophony. I did the important thing of picking. Sometimes the fun thing about these Bandcamp things is if they are from different countries, I have to be like, I cannot read Korean, so I have to let's pick the songs that are in English so that I can say them out loud. Because also I don't know how to type it. I guess I could just copy it from Bandcamp. Anyway, that was the song. I like it. There's a lot of cool stuff that I like. That's the beauty of Bandcamp. It's like, it's international. It's just like people from all over the world. You just kind of like, it's sound. The sound comes into a box, and that box is, it plays it back to me. But speaking of people coming internationally, we've got our next guest here, who you may know from issue 23 of Indiepocalypse with 1968. Is it just Ray?
Yeah, it's just Ray. Yeah,
just Ray. Ray, or also known as Cuddlefresh. Hello, how you doing?
Hi. I've been better. I've been worse, honestly. That's what kind of my catchphrase at this point.
Yes, that is. I like to think that not every human is. Very rarely will you catch a person at the absolute peak or value of their life.
Right.
So
there's this like office quote that says, "I wish I could tell what the good old times are before you've left them." That's pretty much like what I'm feeling right now. Just that kind of melancholy maybe. But other than that, I'm doing great because I'm on the show, obviously. So.
Yeah, well, thank you for being on the show. Speaking about being on the show, the first step to being on the show is getting into Indiepocalypse. So I gotta ask you, how'd you hear about Indiepocalypse?
About Indiepocalypse, well, I always sort of hovered around it on Twitter. Honestly, like I always saw retweets of it. I followed you. Personally, I don't have much capital to spend, so I didn't necessarily buy anything prior to me sort of getting into Indiepocalypse. But yeah, I've always sort of heard about it on Twitter, and then when I saw it like on the jam page, like I was looking for jams to join, I saw Indiepocalypse submissions, and I was like, "Fuck yeah!" So can I swear on the show?
Oh yes, you can. I realized that sometimes, like when I make my first swear of an episode, I'm like, "This is a swear episode now," and this is
R-rated. You have to
18
plus.
Now, when I go on Anchor, I have to remember to check off explicit.
Yeah.
But yes, you can.
Yeah, hovering about it, and I'm really glad to have been a part of it.
Well, perfect. That's like a big thing about Indiepocalypse. I think it's important that all these games, they're just like free, on a lot of the developers' pages. And would you believe it? I linked to all those developers' pages, so you can just go there and play those games.
Honestly, I can't imagine like what fucking spreadsheet madness it must be like to keep track of everything.
Oh, it's a nightmare. Every month I'm like, man, I wish itch would like let you split revenue on an individual game.
Right. It would be brilliant if they could like finally put that in, because I believe you can split revenue automatically on bundles, right?
Yes, you can.
But you can't do that on individual games, which sucks.
Yes, no, it's terrible for me specifically, and probably some other people too. It's like, fortunately, it doesn't. People get as a recipient of Indiepocalypse royalties, they don't come up very often, but
yeah.
But when they do come up, it's a real pain in the ass. Usually to you, because like mass payments in Google helps, but you have to like split it by currency.
Yeah, that sucks.
And you need to, and then you need to make sure you have all the available funds within your PayPal account. And then you have to so I have to upload all those different spreadsheets, and then it usually comes up when they do the pledge drive, because then everyone gets it. Everyone kind of hits the edge. But then also it's like, oh, what if people were like close, and then I need to pay out more money than I got in, and all sorts of stuff.
If only there was a one world order and everybody paid the same currency and everybody just lived in one country. That would be brilliant.
But then my American dollars wouldn't be worth so much money everywhere else.
No, you don't get it. American dollars would be the singular currency, and every single United States of America would just be one country all over the globe.
Now you're speaking my language.
I love America. I love guns. I love everything.
Yes, pow pow. We say we all have from birth to the grave. We all get a gun. It's just kind of like you're kind of required to.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's like fairy godmother type beat. It's like gives you a gun.
Yeah, it just pops up and go like, oh, I mean, and you get a new one every couple of years, to upgrade. Okay, 2023. Yeah. So I have to make sure I buy everything before. Sorry, my sidebar activity was like, when is PAL closing?
I thought it was like, you're getting your gun license renewed 2023.
Yeah,
you're getting a new one.
No, I am. My side activity it was like, when is PAL closing? When do I have to make sure I buy all their books that I don't have? Solved. It was 2023. But speaking of 2023, that's a 4-digit number. You know another 4-digit number? It's 1968. Tell me a little bit about that.
It sure is a 4-digit number, and it also is a year.
Yes. Tell me a little bit about 1968.
Right. 1968 is this sort of adventure game, I guess is the closest genre that you could call it.
Yeah.
It's this sort of explore your own house as a child and find basically keys to locks and get into your mother's room. And there's a lot of sort of subtextual storytelling that you're supposed to like pick up on about this family that you're a part of.
Subtext in a game?
That can't be right. I only know shoot.
How dare you?
Right, yeah. But yeah, I developed it over the course of about half a year, maybe.
Yeah.
I was stuck in quarantine. Like, that was the beginning of quarantine, like early 2020, I believe. And I was feeling very lonely at that time. And that sort of made its way into the game. And I was sort of exploring my own family dynamics at the time. So that also made its way into the game. I do that a lot, I find. Just
right.
Like things in my life I do.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the nature of independent, like especially solo art. Like if I can't see any of a person in the game, then it usually feels very empty and very like, well, why did you make this then?
Mm-hmm.
And this doesn't mean like a people's personal life, but I think you still see like, you can't escape your own lived experience.
Yeah, that's right.
Or you have to, I guess, maybe work to escape your own lived experience, and then you're just making.
Oh, sorry.
No. Just if you're gonna talk, I'm just gonna be quiet. I'm here every week.
Thank you. Like recently, I've been taking on more sort of, I guess you could call them projects or games. I mean, I make games that aren't like my own, that I haven't thought up or I haven't made up basically in my own head. And I've had like some issues with that, where I have to like isolate the me from the work. And I think that on one hand, it's challenging, and that's, I love challenge. Not in the Dark Souls way. I kind of hate Dark Souls, but that's a different topic.
Yeah.
But in a sort of like, here's me as an artist, and here's the project that we're making as a team, and I sort of have to isolate myself from that in a certain way.
Yeah.
Not that that's a bad thing. Just like I have to be conscious of it, like not to put myself into it.
Yeah, I am bad is not the right word, but I am not usually a collaborator, mostly because I work very quickly often, and I kind of like have a very like, my approach is just to throw a bunch of stuff at a wall, and so it's kind of very messy until I edit it down. and it's also so it's very strange sometimes to be like, hey, someone else can also work on this, and they just do their own thing. My approach has been like, hey, just do whatever you want.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm actually a very slow worker.
Yeah.
I find that I have to methodically, like, it's not that I sit down and think about it a lot and I just brainstorm all this shit out. Sometimes I go on walks, sometimes I, lay in my bed and I find something and I read something and I get this idea in my head and I just write it down somewhere. And it takes a long time to sort of pile up all these ideas and put them into like one tangible project. Like again, 1968 is a very simple game. That I could make that in a week now, should I choose to, because I have collected all these ideas. But at that point I hadn't, and I was still figuring out stuff.
Right. It's just like the games are more than art is more than like the end result. Like so much of it goes into what you end up making. And it is sometimes like, oh, I went on a walk. I spent time when I could not be doing anything else. And just like time to let your mind idly think is sometimes like it's as crucial a part of like the development process as, I don't know, any kind of formalized brainstorming session.
Yeah, I got you.
And it brings to sort of a it's sort of like that. It's also, it can be like that, when you're trying to remember something, and the best way to remember it sometimes is just try to not think about it.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Like some of the ideas I had for my games just came about like I wasn't even thinking about it, and I didn't want to think about it.
Right, because it avoids you're getting too kind of caught up in this very specific mindset.
Yeah, like make content. I hate the word content, by the way. Like, hey, let's put this content in, and content creator and shit like that. It
is. It is truly miserable way to live.
Yeah, so I hate the words content creator. I hate a lot of things.
No, I'm a true hater.
Yeah, well, I'm a hater, not a lover.
Well, that's not truly fair, I would say. I say I'm a hater because I'm a lover.
Oh, that's fair. That's a very good way of putting it. Yeah.
It's when people post people taking hot takes, or like the lesson. The internet gets a little hopped up sometimes. Occasionally, they'll pull out another like Orson Welles or like beat of commentary. And you got to remember, he's a hater because he's a lover, and he's like critical. When people are critical of things because they like them,
Yeah.
People,
I guess that.
People bully Marvel movies because they care about movies. So when you have
that makes sense.
Usually when you have any old director come up and like, what do you think about shallow popcorn cinema? And they're like, I don't like it.
And then the fans are like, what? You don't like it? You fucking idiot.
Right. How dare you not like shallow popcorn?
Not like this that I like.
Yeah.
You're supposed to be part of the big freaking hive mind with me.
I can't believe we got tricked back into the monoculture. I thought we were free.
Damn it.
It happened, though. I was thinking, like, oh, yeah, we don't have TV events anymore. We don't have event television anymore because we're all off in our own little niches. But no, we're all stuck on the same 3 websites again.
Yeah. Was it Twitter, TikTok, and freaking Discord? I don't know.
Yeah, they always change, but there's only 3 or 4 of them.
Yeah, they're like fucking Pokemon teams.
Yeah, right. I think about Pokemon sometimes, and I wonder how many artists are like, whenever like there's a new Pokemon that comes out, a lot of people, I'm sure, really love them, but I wonder how much of it is like, I need to draw the new Pokemon so I can get a bunch of fans. Like, they're kind of like specific grind of it.
I guess that just like depends on the type of artist who is either like chasing these sort of fan art, communities. If they are genuinely like passionate about this game or piece of art.
Yeah. It's the same thing I wonder with like like Artist Alley fan art that they sell.
Mhm.
Of like, are all these? It's weird that all the artists they're all into the most popular current anime. How fortunate for them all.
Yeah.
Or are they just like making? Nope. Yeah. Or they all just happen to be like, well, I've got to make fan art of
X character. Yeah.
Yeah, because I need to make commissions because nobody wants to buy your OC.
Mm-hmm.
That tricky life of who wants to buy an OC.
I never understood that concept of like buying an OC.
Oh, that's a whole other right. That's right. That's a whole other thing. That is like that is whatever. Artists paying artists for things. It is a strange concept to me personally, but I don't. Yeah.
I get like buying or commissioning art of your OC.
Yeah.
Or like getting commissioned to draw your OC, like the commissioners like the artist's OC,
Yeah.
right? Because they or something. But like adopting an OC or like buying an OC.
Yeah, because I always thought the fun was like in making it.
Yeah.
But who knows?
Who knows? I don't understand. You down in the comments down below on this episode, please write down thoughts.
Yeah, I will not read them.
I can't read.
Yes,
Sorry, guys.
I this is a Indiepocalypse radio. Do not interact.
Do not touch me. Do not get into 5 meters within me.
Indiepocalypse is a non-interactive show.
Yeah, ironically enough, about video games.
Yes, right. Yeah, that is. It's my own personal preference where I'm like, well, it's not interactive for strangers. Mm-hmm. That's why I have a question for him if you want to ask questions. But speaking of questions, you've had time to prep. There's some questions here. A trio of questions from a trio of question askers. When did you start developing games? What inspired you to do so, and what made you believe that this is your calling?
When, what, and why? Right.
Yes, 3/5 of the reporters' questions.
Right. I began making games in about the final grade of elementary, maybe. I started with these stock RPG Maker fantasy games, which I have a very great fondness of.
Yeah.
Like looking back now, I worked on it for like a role-playing community I was a part of, on that one game that I put out, and I solicited help from the people of the community. And nowadays, I tend to look at it like I lost a bit of me in collaborating with these people, mainly because I gave away sort of the writing part of it to people. Writing to me in games is something that I need to have under control. Maybe I'm just a control freak or something. But I think writing and art are the two things that I need to have control over in order to make it sort of quote unquote my game. But like it's fine because it wasn't my game; it was practically a gift.
Right, and different people have different processes. Some people are not collaborators.
Yeah. So that's the when. Sorry, what was the second question? I'm a very forgetful person.
What inspired you to do so?
What inspired me to do so? Well, as I said, I've always been sort of a creative person. I never sort of got logic and that kind of stuff around it. I was never good at sports because I was never like brought up to sports, or like nobody dragged me to the football field, to play football or like basketball. The closest I ever got to it was swimming, maybe, which is great exercise, and I love swimming.
Right.
But like I was less gifted in those sort of parts of living, I guess you could call it, of childhood, than I was of drawing And even drawing, I wasn't good at. Still am not. But yeah, just sort of, I felt this. I loved video games because they were an escape for me, and I thought maybe I could make an escape for other people. I'm saying a lot of words. If none of this makes sense, please let me know.
No, it makes sense. Like art is also kind of, vague about how it works. There's no correct process to it.
Right. Yeah. I guess I forgot what I'm going to say. Never mind. What inspired me as well is, and later on when I began making games under the handle Cuddle Fresh, I sort of began more acquainted with these games as an art form communities, and I really loved that part of it. I usually saw games as a product.
Yeah.
Here's $60. You get the game, you play the game, you enjoy it, and that's it. You consume. But when I was acquainted with these sort of communities which saw games as an art form, I thought about how beautiful it must be to express yourself so that somebody else can get in your head and experience, maybe not the way that you experience the world, but experience the way you want people to experience the world. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, because
in their mind space.
Right. That's kind of I think of art as kind of well, I'm complicated, but how do I convey the complications of my existence to other people in a digestible form? And that's kind of what art is. In one broad definition of it, it's well, I feel like I understand someone a little bit more. I understand a view, their interest or their life or just something,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's what makes
art.
What makes it. Yeah. It's what makes a sculpture different than just mass-produced silverware.
Yeah, you're right, obviously. And what was the third question?
Yes, third question was, what made you believe this is your calling?
What made me believe this was my calling? I'm still not sure if this is my calling, actually.
Well, what made you do it so much?
What made me do it so much is just that I enjoy. I just do it for the fuck of it.
Yeah.
It's brilliant to make something and just sit down and work on something and write something and think about something that people can see and people can play. And that's what made me put a lot of work into stuff like that, is because I love seeing people enjoy stuff, and I love doing it for myself. I love doing it for the process.
Yeah, I mean, it's art has a great endurance quality to it, when it connects with people. Mm-hmm. And it's something that kind of really just will stick with someone. It can alter someone's entire worldview. Something that they experience over the course of half an hour can fundamentally reshape how they think things sometimes, or reframe their interests or any number of things. And it's a cool thing to have to do.
It's interesting how you bring up the timeless quality of art, is because that's because I love looking at these old paintings, and they always resonate with me. Usually they do.
Yeah.
And it's brilliant how time has passed between this painting being drawn in, I don't know, the 18th century, and me experiencing it in the 21st century, and still getting a feeling that this is something. This really is something,
Yeah, no.
I like words. I'm not a great speaker.
No, there was on the Lost episode a couple weeks ago. We talked a lot about, if you're familiar with that Linda Barry comic strip about the people holding each other and looking at the painting.
Mm-hmm.
About just art as it's all about how our perspective on it, and it's hard to describe how we connect with it sometimes. And like it's just kind of universal language we have, sort of. It's why you can get the idea of music even when you can't understand the spoken language.
Mm-hmm. Yes, exactly. My grandma is a person who like doesn't speak English at all.
Yeah.
I live in Eastern Slovakia. I live in Eastern Europe. But she still keeps the radio on in spite of, and it's like these special radios that only play, rock music or something. And, you don't hear a lot of Slovak rock music, but she still loves this sort of upbeat energy of it. And I do think that, music, it's a radio, like obviously.
Yeah.
Is art, and so are paintings, which can convey a lot without words. So just everything that you can think of as art, unless it's specific things that I don't want to get into right now because I hate talking about it.
Sure.
And it starts with an A and ends in an I, and that's where it ends.
Oh.
That's where this ends.
That's funny because that's actually where I was going very recently. Because I was going to there's that artist.
Go ahead.
There's that artist who just passed. I forget his exact name.
Kim Jung-gi. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Precisely. You got him. Got it in one. I couldn't remember the order of it. But there was someone who was like, I trained his art, an AI bot on his art. And look at this. And like from a distance, it looked like it. But then when you got closer, like, no, you like all the faces were messed up. Like, truly, the human element was missing in like the most poetically perfect way. Of the AI did not get any of the faces right or any of the small gestures correctly.
Right. The thing is that unless an AI is able to like feel, to me, that will never be art.
Right.
If you teach an AI to feel, to live a life, and then it will be able to make art. But if you just feed it a lot, that's not intelligence even. That's just learning. That's just training it on something.
Yeah, and like, listen, for those artists who don't want to draw cars and giant building landscapes, I think it'll be like a helpful tool,
Of course.
But it's like,
there's always but like when you go into it, like into AI art, as a. And thinking of it as a tool to express yourself and not as a help or as a guide, maybe, you're not an artist to me. I'm sorry.
Oh,
that's too harsh. But like, if you just type in Kim Jung-gi trending on ArtStation, big titted woman, that's not art to me. If you put something into it, that's art.
Yeah,
I think this. Yeah, go ahead.
I think in the same way that like people discovered like photography and like abstracted it and added personalization to photography, which is just copying an image that is in front of us.
Yeah.
And like I think there will be people, but it's the worst tech bros that are into it right now. Is just like the absolute nadir of human artistry.
Yeah, I should like note that I don't hate AI.
Yeah.
In case our robot overlords ever come and they see this episode, I don't hate you. It's the people that are using it for the wrong reasons. Like, hey, I'm gonna make this and I'm gonna sell it.
Yes.
And please credit me whenever you use this. Stolen Kim Jong-gi. I taught, whatever.
That right. That one post is like the absolute
it's like a great. It's a recent example. That's why it's in my mind so much.
It is the perfect example of like the problem with it. You could not ask for a better like test case of like all the issues that artists have with AI art, all put into a single post. It's perfect in that way,
Yeah.
It's please credit me, please. It's pilfering a grave. It's reducing an artist to like a style and it was also
it's reducing an artist to a bunch of images that you will then blend.
Yeah,
that's the way I'm looking at it.
Right. It's missing that each of those are purposefully telling a story.
Right. Each of those are purposefully telling a story. Kim Jong-gi, I'm sure, lived a life.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Yes, he was in fact alive, and he thought
He was in fact alive.
he thought during that, and he had thoughts and lived experiences, and he conveyed that to canvas,
Right.
or paper, or whatever you want to broadly call what he drew on.
Exactly.
But yeah, there was
And
also
there's this misconception. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was saying, as we were talking about it, a tweet came across the stream that was actually also talking about it, about how artists. This exact line is this person accidentally having a conversation with us, of saying, artists are not a style. They're not a product. They're a breathing, experiencing person that learns and feels and grows and makes art.
Yeah, I agree with that.
That was what Corey Michelle. To properly cite the person I just read that from. But anyway.
I'll put in a good word with our robot overlords for you.
Yes, yeah, well, I'll make sure to tell, like, hey, please let me into my house. Let me into my house, robots. I'm sorry I made fun of your drawings. I'll put them on the refrigerator.
They're quite pretty.
Yes.
I love your drawings.
Yeah.
Pat.
But anyway, let's enough picky on the poor AI.
Yeah.
AI artists. I'm looking at this, and this is also like how I find. Speaking of how I find artists, like this is how I find artists. Is I just like. I will come across them randomly, and it'll be like, I'll put them onto my list. My giant artist list. Which is like very big. How big are we talking? Anyway, that's irrelevant. This isn't Andrew's list size corner. What this is the end of our small segment here between you and I. So, Ray, thank you for being on this show in this individual segment. We are going to bring everyone back to group segment very quickly. But our individual chats are solo one-on-ones or one-on-two in the case of the first one, which is kind of like a one-on-one team if you meld a team into a singular individual, like viewing a corporation as a human being, as you will, if you will. But thank you. Is what I was saying roundabout way as I was reopening my music player. I'm going to go on a quick break, and then we'll be back with everybody else in like a minute 46. Bringing it short. Goodbye. Welcome back to Indiepocalypse Radio. That was Oops with Yes Des. Anyway, everyone's here. It's a full house. The gang's all together.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hi.
They're all in a party. So now we've got to ask the pressing question. What's up with Mario? What's his deal?
I want to know what happened to his butt.
I've been thinking, I've been saying, and I think it's gonna come true. There's going to be a reinvigorated love for like that original Mario Brothers movie.
Oh, there already is, definitely.
Yeah, and it's
Like,
just,
yeah. Go ahead.
no, you go.
Well, I've heard of like people. Shout out to Henry, who works on, who basically just hangs out with me on a PS1, and he has a love for the cyberpunk aesthetics of the original movie.
Yeah,
Like the Super Mario Brothers movie with.
It really
Paul
is
Hogan.
such a unique vision, you know.
Really, like if
If
it
nothing
wasn't
else.
cyberpunk, like, if it wasn't Super Mario, I feel like a lot of people would have been really glad to see that sort of movie.
yeah.
I feel like it would definitely be more of a cult classic if it didn't
Yeah.
have that tie-in.
Yeah, it's truly like, even like the cast is truly bizarre.
Yeah.
It's such a weird thing. It's like barely Mario at all, but it's like it is so visually striking.
It's very interesting.
Yeah, I think of it in the same way. I've been using my break clip this time is from the intro of Phantom of the Paradise, which is also like a much better film overall, but also like super, like a lot of that appeal of that movie is like it's super visually striking. Like
yeah, totally. Again, like an absolutely unique vision of the world.
Yeah, like things do not look like that in the same way things do not look like the Super Mario Brothers movie.
I still haven't seen the old one, but I want to do a double bill when the new one comes out.
That sounds like a great idea.
It is an absolute, like, I have not watched it as an adult, but I watched it a lot as a kid, and as a kid I loved it. So success, I guess.
Probably really good. Like, but I've only heard good things.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I bet like maybe like some of the script probably doesn't hold up. It's probably like there's probably like some clunkiness to it, that kind of thing. But
like in a good, in a nice way.
Yeah, right. It seems like maybe a movie you watch with friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't seen it either, but all I've heard about it is just the production hell it went through. I think that it was just an absolute mess to make. In terms of like, I think there's people not showing up to set in time, and the script wasn't ready until like the day it launched, things like that.
Oh,
I think it was an absolute mess.
I know Bob Hoskins, who played Mario, was like pretty much blackout drunk the entire time.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's just Bob Hoskins' behavior at this point.
Also,
What a...
There's this anecdote that I heard Dennis Hopper tell once on an interview that he was like a year or two after he made the movie, one of his kids, like, which is one of the reasons he agreed to do it, was because like, oh, this is a movie like for my kids or whatever.
Yeah.
His kid asked him like, why did you do that movie? He played Bowser in the movie. And Dennis is like, well, son, I did it so that I could get the money to like buy you shoes. And he says, my kid looked me square in the eye and said, Dad, I don't need shoes that bad.
I don't need shoes if you're gonna pay for them with Bowser money.
Yeah. I don't want your Bowser shoes, Dad.
Were you playing a more unhinged character than your like Blue Velvet character?
Yeah. Well, that had integrity.
What if King Koopa grabbed Mario by the lapels and he was like, "Fire flowers, fuck that shit, bombs," or something?
Tanuki suit.
Yes. It's man, Blue Velvet. What a movie. That's how you've got like a good cast, when it's like, what, these actors are not normally in like like commercial tie-in sort of movies, and then here they all are in a Super Mario Brothers movie.
Yeah.
Respect to my man Jack Black and all those types. But
I was gonna say, like, he is the perfect fit. I think his voice is good.
Jack Black for Bowser.
Jack Black for Bowser.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. That's my favorite part of the trailer.
Yeah, it was good for sure.
And most of those people I love, like Keegan-Michael Key. I love Key and Peele. I think he'll do great. I think he'll be like top shelf,
Charlie Day as Luigi. That's like dream casting.
Charlie Day is like, and it's funny because whenever I think of, it's funny him being in this movie, because I think a lot about like a clip I saw of Charlie Day on, I think it was Jimmy Fallon, and it was like they were doing like something where they're guessing characters or something, like for movies, so like some talk show game. Mm-hmm. And he couldn't guess the guy from Big Hero 6, and Jimmy Fallon was like, "What? No, it's Mr. Big Hero 6. How do you not know that?" And Charlie Day was like, "It's not a kids movie." just very matter of factly, like, I'm like, yeah, it is a kids movie, Charlie Day.
It's like, why would I know that?
Yeah, why would I? But it was just like, occasionally I think about that when I'm like, no, why do I have to have an opinion about Mario? I don't. Why do I have to think about like any number of like these pop culture things? It's like I don't have to think about them.
Yeah, you're in your house. You can lock your door.
Marcus Aurelius has already said you don't need to have an opinion. Or what was? Now I forgot that line. That very good tweet someone had forever ago about like, someone help me out here.
No idea.
Marcus Aurelius has already freed you from having a take.
Oh, thank fuck. I was afraid I had to have an opinion on anything, on everything and anything.
Well, you say that, but
the politics in Oregon are pretty in a pretty state right now.
Yeah,
Are in a state, aren't they? In an Oregon state, yeah.
You're right. You say that, and you forget. You clearly are not spending a lot of time on Twitter. It's like, why do people have a feeling to talk about literally everything? Oh, it was. Remember, Marcus Aurelius has already absolved you of the duty of having a take, and it's. I don't know what book this is from, or which. You are not compelled to form any opinion about this matter before you, nor to disturb your peace of mind at all. Things in themselves have no power to extort a verdict from you. So that is back in, when is that guy? What kind of BC are we talking? Or is he AD? When is he hanging around? Oh, very early AD. Yeah, so this was back in back in 160 or like 170-ish BCE. Some guy saying like, hey, dude, you don't have to take on everything.
When Twitter only had 140 characters too, so
yeah, back when back in Roman Twitter. If you think philosophers in the Roman Forum did not have bad takes, you are fooling yourself.
Oh man, some of them wrote it down.
Yeah.
On tablets, no less.
Yeah, they wrote that. That was written in stone.
Yeah, my God. Can you imagine being in their own forum and knowing the bad take guy, and it's like, oh, here he comes. He's going to open his damn mouth again.
And imagine like changing your mind on something in that age.
Right.
It's like you already wrote it down. You can't.
Give me a hammer. I gotta go
find
smash
this,
all
and
these
you're gonna think
tablets.
you're an asshole your whole life.
Yes. I wrote this on the side of my house.
I think the Mario movie can. I think the Mario movie is gonna Mario play. Sorry, because I know we're in Greece or Rome. I think the Mario play is gonna fucking suck dick.
Yeah.
It turns out to be.
Fucking cancel Marcus Aurelius over his bad takes about Mario.
Marcus Aurelius' over party.
Yes, exactly, precisely. I think that's what they called the Ides of March. I think that was hashtag Julius Caesar's over party.
Yeah.
What
I think Caesar sell it.
A classic case of canceling. I was gonna make a joke, but I'm sure somebody far cleverer than me and who has thought about it has already made a joke of who was the first person ever canceled. And I thought, who is it? Was Abel the first person ever canceled?
I was gonna say probably Abel.
Adam and Eve.
Yeah, I guess Adam and Eve did get deplatformed.
Yeah, they did get deplatformed. The first victims of call-out culture.
Satan. That's my fucking.
Oh yes, right, exactly.
Yeah, you got banned.
Yeah.
You got canceled.
Having
Discord server.
having to form his own Discord server. Precisely.
Spite.
Better to rule on Truth Social than to serve in Twitter.
Hey! To be the devil's advocate, I don't think he would be on Truth Social. to truly advocate the devil.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he runs Facebook.
He's got better vibes than Mark Zuckerberg, who somehow is a human with approximately zero vibes somehow.
Yeah.
If you were to take the absence of existence and condense it into a human being.
I don't think he even shows up on infrared, honestly.
Just Bullying. What have we come to? Bullying billionaires online.
Because that's the only thing we can do.
Yeah, it's what a. It's very funny. People not getting used to billionaires being like, wait, people can just like make fun of me when I'm not their direct boss.
Hello, everyone. I have made this new account. My name is Billionaire Bill Anair.
Yes.
Make it up. I hope that with your continued support, I can continue making a lot of money. That's a tweet.
Yeah.
Somebody else says, "Fuck you, billionaire." What are you gonna do about this? I am going to buy this platform and ban you. No, you can't.
So all of the the positive comments you see under those billionaires' posts are just their other like alt accounts they log into. Right? There's no way anyone actually believes them.
They finally developed an AI that can bootlick.
Yeah.
Listen, they've already that'll be like first in line, just like an AI that compliments me. My great Q4. But speaking of Q4s, how's everyone's Q4 doing? How are our fiscal years wrapping up?
Down per usual.
Yes, all of our fiscal years are down. Perfect.
Stakeholders are unhappy.
I'd say I'm bleeding money, but I'm not even bleeding at this point.
Yes.
Can't get blood from a stone, unfortunately.
Yes.
Wait, but when I squeeze the stone so hard, where's the blood coming from then? I thought it was coming from the stone.
Why does my hand hurt?
The knife in it.
Oh no.
It's from the fucking sword in it.
Oh jeez. Oh man.
Oh
well.
jeez. Oh wow.
Oh wow.
What a golly thing.
What a you know. I like to do that, and then I got disappointed for a second when like that was also like the Justin Roiland thing he did.
Yeah.
And then I think luckily it's in the rear view again, far enough that you can do it again. But whatever, he's like the last I knew about him, he has like 8 shows now, I think, because they just keep giving him shows.
Yeah.
And games as well.
Yeah.
Surprisingly.
But they're producing. But at least he's having a short that has like all those Simon Hanselman characters in them, I think. So that's cool.
I'm really excited for that.
I'm a huge whatever you call the extended Megan Mog universe booster.
Same.
I when I had my when the airline lost my luggage, I lost with it my Werewolf Jones shirt, and I paid more
That's
money.
Heartbreaking.
I paid more money than I like on eBay to get another one, but I did get another one. And because I was like, but then I also lost like a Drinking Boys and Girls Choir T-shirt that I'll never get again, because it's like they're like a South Korean punk band on a small record label, and I don't think they're doing print runs.
You just have to try and remember the design and do an iron on yourself.
Maybe I did buy their second album shirt, so it's fine. I got another one. I use T-shirts as a litmus test of the vibes of conventions I go to see if they match my vibes.
See, any convention I go to, I wear a blank T-shirt so that no one talks to me.
Oh, I'm talking as a vendor.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Honestly, I see that as an invitation if you go to a blank shirt.
Yeah. They're like, "Where's your Super Mario Brothers T-shirt?"
Where's your Super Mario Brothers movie coming out in December 2022? Is it coming out? I don't know.
Yeah.
Did they hand one to you at the door?
Yeah. So if I go to like a game convention and I see a lot of Mario Brothers T-shirts, if I see the genre of T-shirts that if I see the same T-shirt on a 30-something and also a 12-year-old, and I'm like, okay, so that's what kind of convention this is. Literally, adult children.
Adult-children.
Yes. maybe I'm too overly critical of myself, but if I saw a child wearing the same shirt as I would be like, what am I doing? I need to buy a new shirt.
Or if it's a Werewolf Jones shirt,
I'm like, I'd be like, what's that kid doing in that
How'd
werewolf?
that kid get so cool?
Right.
Why am I wearing this Fortnite shirt?
Yes.
What am I doing with my life?
Oh, it is such an excellent shirt, though. I love it so much. It's if you are personally unfamiliar, it's that things are going to get weird shirts because I'm going to make them. It's a good 1-2 punch. I'm very excited that we're getting into kaiji shirt season soon. Because I got one from that from Dent for a very excellent kaiji shirt, but it is
Like Godzilla and stuff.
no kaiji as in gambling apocalypse.
Oh, amazing! I love that.
It's how do I describe kaiji? It's like Yu-Gi-Oh but with scumbags.
Oh yeah, okay. Looking at the cover, I recognize this. I haven't read it or watched it, but I know of it.
Yeah, it's got a very distinct look to it.
Yeah.
And the shirt is him holding a bunch of money and sweating.
Oh, so true. I wish that was me. God, I wish that was me. I want to do 2 things in life: hold money and sweat.
Yeah, it's a really great shirt. It's shirts that are like band shirts are great because band shirts always look good usually. I think they have but that's also because music doesn't have key art because it's sound. You get cooler looking visuals for music to try and represent that kind of thing.
I've always wanted to have a gift shop at the end of a play. I don't think maybe it's done for some bigger productions like West End, like Broadway.
Yeah.
But like an indie, or fringe, 50 people see it, and you're like, we're selling T-shirts.
You should, yeah. Do it like you would like a concert at a local venue. Just have your merch table.
Yeah, get local artists to design something. Just maybe not even seeing the show, just reading the blurb.
Right. That's kind of why when I commission artists, I just say, "Hey, write Indiepocalypse and then do whatever else you want." I mean, I explain what it is, and that's how you get people just making the craziest shit. And
yeah, covers are they go hard. They go so hard. I would love to be best friends.
You can buy covers.
I can't, but yes.
Yeah, I mean, you are. It is possible to do that. I should say rather.
Yes, indeed, it is.
Whether or not it is affordable to do so is a different story.
As we all mentioned, our fiscal years are down. So
yes. Well, my fiscal year is technically up because I got a new job. But
hey.
Yeah. Hey, got out of corporate retail, went into local business. It is.
Hell yeah.
It rules.
Moving up in the world.
Yeah, oh man, what a world when you work for a local business. It changes a lot of things.
My investors, that is the 5 people who just religiously follow anything I do,
right?
Are feeling down this fiscal year.
Oh, the boss is coming to visit. Oh, because the boss lives down the street because he is. You see him all the time. He has an office in the building you work in. Not he's flying in from somewhere else to inspect your store. There's not 8 million.
The boss is coming in to work a shift at the register.
Right. There's not 8 million rungs of middle managers that you have to contend with. But it's also harder, ever decreasing. I've said before that I saw on my main street, I saw a sign for a brewery and a sign for acai bowls, and I thought, is my town becoming gentrified? Finally.
Finally.
Parentheses negative.
Yeah, right. We all know you, Andrew.
Yeah, and
You
the
love
answer, the answer is no. The answer is so long as a giant gaudy neon sign is present, I think we're safe. Once that sign comes down, it's the end times, I think.
Keep the sign lit.
Yes, that's what I look at. I go, that giant, ugly neon sign that has no place in modern aesthetics.
It's like the Olympic fire. You got to keep it on.
Yes, and it's for a liquor store as well. So it's a truly a classy a top shelf sign. But anyway, support a local business, I guess. Is maybe what I'm saying.
Yeah, do that.
Come specifically to Portland and support the local businesses that are selling haste.
Yes.
By buying haste.
Yes, go knock on Shane's door and be like, "Haste, please."
I do have a bunch of copies laying around.
Yeah, I have a bunch. I made a pre-Indiepocalypse, kind of like proto-Indiepocalypse. I had made a Seinfeld RPG that I have like roughly 8 million zines of. And I'm like I need to remember, because I used to just have a pile of them in my suitcase, and I would give them to people. I mean, they could buy them individually, but I'd also give them if they bought a copy of Indiepocalypse. But since the aforementioned luggage loss, I keep forgetting to put them back into my suitcase, my shop suitcase, and this is what I'm saying right now, so I'll remember to do it. Not that anyone here needs to know that fact.
Tell me how many times I will just say something out loud so that I remember for my own personal benefit.
Yes, right.
And then I forget anyway, honestly. Like, I do that as well. I just forget.
But
I have to write it down. All right,
but you potentially got closer to remembering.
Yes, that's true. Progress is progress. You can't stop it. Unless you do. At which point, congrats, I guess.
I wouldn't shake a stick at progress. Or if I would shake it, I would shake it complimentary, as in, the stick stands with you. But anyway, we are currently cresting 2 hours for the show. 2 long recorded hours. Oh, actually, perfect. I'll have plenty of time. Next week, Actually, this is live, and I don't know if they put the schedule up, but next week I'm giving a talk about Indiepocalypse and convincing people to get into small games press as part of Superfest Devil. I think it's Superfestival, but the fest is capitalized. And it'll be at 5:30, but I'm like, I have a show before that. Do I have to speed it up? But no, it's only like 4 o'clock, so I'll actually have plenty of time to do a show, take some time off, and then do a talk about telling people, being like, slowly corrupting people's minds, and be like, what if you didn't think about like doing large game publishing? What if you just like did your own stuff and like supported other people doing their own stuff? And wouldn't that be cool? But also, like, it's a Toronto-based event, and they have in the past held an event during TCAF where, if like, I feel like that should be a life-altering experience for any game developer, to be like, look around you and be like, all these comic artists are selling stuff and I'm not selling anything, and they're all making a bunch of little minis and they're coming up with something new each year, and I am working on the same game every year for 10 years straight. There's got to be a better way. But anyway, whoa, got a nervous buzz. I remembered I added all my Google forms. I have like 1 billion forms, and I added them all to email me when I get an entry, so I don't have to check them all. I'm getting a lot of people submitting their profile pages for the website, because I like to, to the best of my ability, support everyone beyond Indiepocalypse, because Listen, I'm $40, $40 to $60 is not a lot of money, and I have to I unnecessarily give myself the burden of being like, oh, I have to help all these people because I brought them into this thing.
We thought it was really cool to be part of that, to like be on that like list, that wall of faces, because there was people that we recognized, and we're like, whoa, we get to be like a part of like this little group now.
Yeah, that's I think it's cool. I think we need more like just kind of like small shows, you know. Like because you guys have what's over there? Like is Thought Bubbles over there, right? That's like an indie comic show over there, and I think there should be more like little shows for game developers.
Comics in the UK, yeah, definitely not in Plymouth.
Right. I think Shortbox is technically based out of the UK, right? Anyway.
Yeah. Again, comics. I'm not part of that world, I guess.
No, and I am also talking like indie, like indie stuff too.
Something I'm definitely like looking into, and it'd be so cool to put together something, and yeah, like you said, like make something you can hold in your hands and go around with. But you can do that with games too now.
Yeah,
and but like it is an exciting form, comics, to be able to make stuff and share it so quickly, and yeah.
Yeah, I encourage game developers. If you make little games, did you know that you can just like print games out like little pieces of key art on postcards and sell those postcards at events?
I'm actually currently looking at it. That's so fucking funny.
Looking at what?
They're looking at the Pizza Pranks indie game consignment shop thing.
Yeah, and I mean,
it's honestly a brilliant idea.
Yeah, I'm doing one next Sunday. Like the 16th, I'm going to a punk flea market again, and I bring all these little cards, and I try to sell games for people to the best that I can. Because postcards, they're like dirt cheap. They're like 5 cents a piece, and it gives you a physical. Anyway, this is whatever. This is me talking. This is me giving my talk. This is me pre-gaming my Superfest talk, which is saying, hey, make small stuff, sell small stuff. It's better to make $50 7 times during a year than it is to make $150 at the end of 7 years. Or whatever. You get the idea. Make small. Sell small. Low risk. But speaking of selling, I'm going to ask all these nice people here to sell themselves, which is to say, plug their work and where you can find it. I'm going to start with Ray. First, what have you got to promote, plug? Where can people find your stuff?
Yeah, you can find my stuff on cuttlefresh.io mostly, and you can find the development of my games on dev_cut CUTTLFRSH, like Cuttlefresh but without the E's.
Yes, Cuttle like the fish.
Yeah,
right?
like the cuttlefish, Cuttlefresh. Then you can find my development stuff there, and yeah, that's about it really. Hope you like it.
Yeah. People listen. Indiepocalypse is but a jumping off point into a bunch of different artists that I think people should follow from there, you know? Because I think, like, you know, everyone's got work outside of this, and you should be like, I really liked 1968. What is Parasite Cycle, you know?
Yeah, Parasite Cycle is a game that I worked on for about a year now. It's currently in stasis because engine troubles.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm working on some new stuff as well. 3 projects right now. So
yes, and you
hopefully we'll see those soon.
You can find it all there on that aforementioned cuttlefresh.io.
Yep, that's right.
Shane, what have you got to plug?
You can find all my games at harkforsooth.itch.io. It's my game company of one. You can get Haste, you can get Heist, which is like a Lupin the Third 70s inspired heist RPG. You can find computer bugs stole my grandma's tax files, and I need to get them back in cyberspace, and some other like choose your own adventure, Ren'Py style fantasy comedy adventures.
I'm liking this. I like this. I like these little goblins. I'm a huge fan of goblins.
Oh, yeah. There's just a little goblin where you are your party is a goblins living in a human apartment, sharing one room, and your human roommates have tasked you with mundane chores around town that you have to try and accomplish as a group. All of your stats are measured in minuses because you're measured on the human scale. Yeah, the image is one of my favorites. It's just a goblin holding tax forms and panicking and sweating.
In my life, there is no greater pleasure than a picture of a little goblin. It's like, I love to see people draw them.
Well, that book's definitely full of little goblin drawings.
I know. I'm looking at a bunch of them. Anyway.
And you can find other stuff that I do just on Twitter at Shane Hosey.
Oh, perfect.
I beat up the other Shane Hosey and make sure I got that Twitter handle.
Nice. Somebody's using Indiepocalypse and I cannot get it.
Nah.
I asked them, hey, do you want to let me have that? And they're like, did not respond because probably is an account that nobody checks.
Yeah, that always seems to be how those go. It's like, I really want this account, and it hasn't tweeted in 4 years.
Yeah, and someone was like, because someone was like, you should make an Indiepocalypse account. And I'm like, oh, I don't like making 2 accounts. I don't have the patience for that.
I have a bad habit of creating accounts for. There is an at Heart Forsooth on Twitter that I don't check. There's an Instagram one that I don't check. It's just like, I need to stop. I need to just centralize.
Yeah, that is like, I make one, and that is me. That's my philosophy. It's just have one. And hope everyone just goes there. But speaking of places that people can go, Max, where would people go if they want to find your work?
Wow, that was an incredible segue.
Thank you. I've been doing this for 80 episodes or whatever.
Yeah. So, you can find my Twitter and my itch and basically my everything under the same handle of Max HG Robbins. There's not a lot on my itch, really. It's just sort of game jam stuff. There's not much there worth checking out, to be honest, besides Mondays. So go play Mondays if you're interested in checking it out.
Perfect. And Alex, what have you got?
Yeah, same for me. My itch and Twitter are under not Alex Robbins. And also thought we'd say that the bus game that we're making for Plymouth will also be on our itch. So everyone can play it, even if you're not in Southwest UK Plymouth.
Oh, I should also mention for those listening, that's Robbins with 1 B.
Yeah.
Yes.
That is. I've something I have to remember is.
Yeah.
What's the word I'm looking for? Names that can have alternate spellings.
Yeah. There's another Alec Robbins on Twitter who does really good posts. So I recommend that. I don't know.
Is that the Boopster guy? The old.
Yeah.
I married the Boop. What's that production company? I can't remember the name. Absolutely. He's one of the. He works for Absolutely, I think.
He's the writer on High on Life, the Justin Roiland game coming out.
Okay.
Yeah. Interesting guy. But not me. I'm only 1B, and it's Alex with a X.
And in my stuff, would you believe it? It's at indiepocalypse.com. I've got all sorts of Indiepocalypse stuff here and there and all over the place, and you know how it is. It's like Indiepocalypse, you buy that. If you happen to buy issues 25, 23, or 32, at some point down the road, these people on the show will get $5 US, which translates into other money in other countries as well. But it's all a slow trickle of royalties. I think I like royalties because it's like I did a thing. Then I don't have to worry about it again. But sometimes it pays me a little bit of money. And, it's nice. If you want to submit your game, if you listen to this and like, I can make a game, or I've already made a game, indiepocalypse.com/submit, and you can just like submit your game, and I'll be like, hey, this is pretty good. Want to come in Indiepocalypse? Or sometimes I might not say that, but doesn't mean you won't make a game that I will say that to eventually, And also, listen, I'm not the arbiter of all taste in the world. There are plenty of things I don't like that plenty of people do like. And that's, I don't know. Indiepocalypse.com/Patreon is where you get it on Patreon. If you don't want to think about buying Indiepocalypse, you're just like, I don't want to think about buying this every month. I just want someone to take money out of my bank account or charge my credit card. And then you can just do that. If you want to like be like, this new commission game here from this brand new Takuma Okada commission game looks very cool. I'm a fan of tabletop games, GM-less games, but I don't have the money for a full Indiepocalypse. Well, you know what? If you spend only $5, you just get the commission games. And they might all be there. Just saying. Who knows how long that will be this case. But yeah, there's stuff there. I like it. Buy it. That's it. That's the show. We're spinning it down. We're wrapping it up. Buy this thing I put out because I like it, and I think you ought to like it too. And money is an unfortunate necessity. I look forward to the day when one day Indiepocalypse becomes profitable and my Twitter handle will no longer be Andrew Line buy Indiepocalypse, because I won't have to. I can change it to any other fun thing I want. But until then,
Buy Indiepocalypse.
But until then, that is my message to you. All caps, buy Indiepocalypse. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
Apocalypse.
Right.